How to make decisions the right way? This is a question that most people neglect, but most people should pay attention to. We live in a world that requires us to do decisions constantly. It is fair to say that your life is only as good as your decisions. But schools don't teach these skills. If anything, society wants us to just go with the flow. However, in this video, I'm going to show you 6 steps on how to make decisions the right way. Let's go. Decisions are different from choices. If you casually select an option from a range of alternatives, you've made a choice. If you react without thinking, you've made an unconscious choice. But neither of these is the same as a decision. A decision is a choice that involves conscious thought. I've explained how to wake up your consciousness and suppress your nature in the last video. If you haven't checked that out, pause this video and watch that first. Step 1. Define the problem. Just as the old saying goes, your answers are only as good as your questions. The same applies to decision making. Unfortunately, people too often end up solving the wrong problem. Here are 2 principles that the best decision makers use. First, the definition principle. You need to take responsibility for defining your own problem. Don't let someone define it for you. Do the homework to understand it. Don't use jargon to describe or explain it. Second, the root cause principle. Identify the root cause of the problem. Don't be content with simply treating the symptoms. Ask yourself, what would have to be true for this problem not to exist at the first place? For example, every dog rescue shelter asks the same question: how to get more people to adopt their dogs? But not Downtown Dog Rescue in LA. Lori Weiser, the founder, instead asked, what would have to be true for there to be fewer dogs to adopt in the first place? That led him to discover that many dogs were voluntarily given up because their owner couldn't afford to feed them. So Weiser started a program to ask donations to help those families feed their pets. Guess what? That reduced the number of surrender pets by 75%. So always build a problem-solution firewall. Separate problem-defining phase from problem-solving phase. Test your solution using time. Will this solution fix the problem permanently, or will the problem return in the future? If it seems like later, chances are you are addressing the wrong problem. Once you are clear on the problem, you need to think about possible solutions by imagining possible futures. That's our step 2. Explore possible solutions. Many people think they are bad problem solvers when in fact they are just bad problem anticipators. In Stoic philosophy, it is essential to prepare for the inevitable ups and downs. So when exploring possible solutions, always ask yourself, what could go wrong and how you will overcome them if they do go wrong. The best decision makers know that bad things happen to good people all the time. It's probability, it's nature. Nobody is immune, but they anticipate and plan ahead. The venture capitalist Josh Wolf likes to say, failures come from failure to imagine failure. In addition, there is a principle called 3+ that you can use. That is, whenever you find yourself facing only 2 options, force yourself to find at least one more. Thinking something that is either yes or no is comfortable. That is our human nature. However, forcing yourself to think another one helps to really dig deep into the question and be creative. So how to do that? Say you have an annoying coworker. We all do. You are thinking about either quitting or continue to suffer. The technique here is to imagine quitting is off the table. Then ask yourself, what now? You may realize that you can apply for a transfer, ask for remote working, and etc. Another technique is called the both and strategy. Instead of quitting, you can stay at a job while reaching out to other opportunities. Scott Fitzgerald once said, the test of a first-rate intelligence is the ability to hold 2 opposed ideas in the mind at the same time and still remain the ability to function. Lastly, you need to constantly think about opportunity costs. For those who don't understand this, I've made a video about this concept. Make sure you check that out. Opportunity cost refers to the cost of foregoing other options while pursuing one. It's a matter of asking, at the expense of what? Surely I can quit my job. But at the expense of what? I will lose my income and won't be able to feed my family. So the opportunity cost is way too high. Make sure you count things other than money, like time, health, and relationship. Choosing the wrong partner may not cost you a lot of money, but definitely will cost you a lot of time. As Einstein said, not everything that can be counted counts, and not everything that counts can be counted. Once you have all your options on the table, it's time to evaluate them. That's our step 3. Evaluate the options. There are 2 components here. First, your criteria for evaluating the options, and second, how you apply them. Your criteria needs to be simple. Ideally, a 12-year-old kid should be able to understand it. It also needs to favor only options that achieve your goal, and it must favor exactly one option, cannot result to a tie. If your criteria doesn't tick all the boxes, it means you don't fully understand the problem. Go back to step 1. A technique that can help you is to write out all criteria, each on a yellow piece of note, stick them onto the wall, and start to rank them. Choose whatever you think is the most important one and place it on the top. Then pick another one to compare them. Until you compare all the rest with that one on the top, then you know your absolutely most important criteria. Simple but effective. When applying criteria, you need information. There's a saying in the computer science world that goes, garbage in, garbage out. Your decision is only as good as your information. There are 2 principles of getting high quality information. First, Hi-Fi principle. Hi-Fi stands for high fidelity. It means getting information that's close to the source and unfiltered by other people's bias. You know you can't learn anything deep on YouTube. Those video explanation, walkthrough, book reviews, and even the one that you are watching now are all just abstraction. They are good for you to get started, but to absorb all those information, you need to read that book yourself. And abstraction misses a lot of detail by design. Those details are important to the person who makes the abstraction, but may be important to you. Second, High-X principle. High-X stands for high expertise. You need information from people who have a lot of knowledge and experience in that area. Expert can increase the accuracy of your information and decrease the time it takes to get it. Getting even one expert's advice can cut you through a lot of confusions and help you quickly to formulate or eliminate options. Here, you need to be very careful, because a lot of so-called experts are merely imitators. Think of all the channels who quote Warren Buffett. They may sound like Buffett, but they don't know how to invest the way Warren Buffett does. Try asking them deeper questions. Ask about their failures. Challenge them and see what happens. Now that you evaluate your options and pick the best one, it's time for action. There is no purpose to knowing what to do and not doing it. If you want results, you need action. There are 2 dimensions for decisions, consequential and reversible. They guide your action speed. The more consequential an action is, the more time you should devote to decision making before action. The more reversible an action is, the quicker you should execute on it. Here's a diagram showing some decisions. You can see that having a child is very consequential. It can change your life's trajectory, and it can't be reversed. You just can't. So you need to think it through before acting. On the other hand, moving furniture is very inconsequential and easily reversed, so just try and error. But the question is, when shall I stop gathering more information and execute on one of the options? What's the optimal timing? Use FLOP principles, which stands for first lost opportunity. The point of keeping the door open is to have more choices. So as long as you are not losing choices, you can keep on waiting. For example, if a job offer only collapses 30 days from now, just take your sweet time and explore other positions until the day comes. Also in relationship, if your partner makes it clear that he or she will walk away if you don't get married this year, you need to decide. Otherwise, opportunity will be lost. So if you are waiting to decide, wait no longer than your first lost opportunity. Most of the time, we need to make decisions when things are still unclear. Even if you made the right call, shit can still happen. That leads to our step 4. Margin of safety. A margin of safety is a buffer between what you expect to happen and what could happen. It is designed to save you when surprises are expensive. My rule of thumb is to keep a margin of safety that can absorb double worst case scenario. If I want to start a business and estimate it will take me 3 months to get it going, I will save up 6 months of capital in case product development got delayed, marketing event didn't go as expected, and etc. Another thing you can do is bullets before cannonballs. In Great by Choice, Morton Hansen and Jim Collins had a wonderful thought experiment. Picture yourself at a sea. A hostile ship is bearing down on you. You have a limited amount of gunpowder. You take all your gunpowder and fire a big cannonball, but miss the target. You die. But suppose instead, you take a little bit of gunpowder and fire a bullet missed by 40 degrees, another bullet missed by 30 degrees, another one, bullseye. Now you take everything left and fire a big cannonball. Boom, you live. Another trick is to set up tripwires. The most dangerous part of climbing Mount Everest is not when you're approaching the summit, but on your way down. Since oxygen reserve is low, you are exhausted and are more likely to make judgment error. It's the same as in life. Tripwires are a form of pre-commitment. You commit yourself in advance a course of actions when certain conditions arise. For example, for any investment that goes down by 30%, sell the remaining position. It prevents our ego from holding the losing stock for too long. Lastly, learn from your decision. Just as any other skill, decision making needs practice, and practice with reflection is most effective. But you need to be careful. When you evaluate a decision, focus on the process, not the result. You could make a good decision but got unlucky, or you could make a terrible decision yet got lucky. Results are the most visible part of a decision. Because of that, we tend to use them as an indicator of decision's quality. This can't be further from the truth. What you can do to counter this is to make your decision-making process as visible and open to scrutiny as possible. Human nature tends to attribute success to own effect and conclude failure to external factors. So document the decision-making process. What information did you have? What approach that you use? Have you talked to enough experts? Have you gathered enough data? Just try to make the invisible visible. Keep track of all your decision-making process so you can learn from them. To effectively use this tool, you first need to know how our brain works against us. So make sure you check this video. Also, I highly recommend this book, Clear Thinking by Shane Paris. A lot of the stuff that we talk about today is from his work. If you are a wisdom seeker like me, please subscribe to my channel and stay tuned. I'm Fatih, my friend.